John and I just love the RV lifestyle.
And Sherry and I are part-time RVers, and we want to get as many people out there as we can and to enjoy the RV life.
Which is why we want to discuss the right way to buy an RV.
We want you to be completely prepared when you go to buy that new RV or that used RV.
When you're looking to buy an RV, and for those of us who are experienced, we know but for those of us who are brand new to RVing or just thinking about starting that lifestyle, the first thing you have to do is determine how you want to camp. Now you're going to find this video is a lot different from other how to buy RV videos because we're going to cover some things that those videos just don't cover. So the first thing is you have to know how you want to camp. And what do I mean by that? Well, do you want to boondock? And if you don't know what boondocking is the type of RVing when you're basically kind of off the grid. You're not hooked up to power. You're not hooked up to water.
Right.
It could be at a winery. It could be out in the Badlands. There are lots of different places and ways to boondock. Or you might be the type of person who wants to camp primarily at state and national parks.
Yeah.
And if you want to do that, you have to be mindful of the size of your RV because a lot of RVs, particularly really long fifth wheels, can't fit into the state and national parks. And some state parks have, well, I would probably say most state parks have size limits, as do most national parks. Now, we have a 36-foot RV.
Yes, we do.
And we have not been turned away from any state campground or any national park. So we're still good.
Nah, not yet. We haven't.
Or maybe the way you want to camp is you want to live the resort lifestyle. You want to get a luxurious RV. Don't get any ideas, John. You want to get a luxurious RV and you want to be able to go to resorts. And RV resorts are a lot like hotel resorts.
They are.
Well, some of them are. You have to be careful and read about that resort because we've gone to some places that call themselves resorts that weren't quite resorts. At least not what I would think of.
No.
But, you may want to have that luxurious kind of RVing lifestyle.
Right.
Or you may want to live full-time in your RV.
Yes.
One thing a lot of people don't realize, especially people who are new to buying an RV, is that not all RVs are warranted for full-time living. And not all RVs should be used as a full-time home.
No.
You might want to use your RV just to travel around the United States, Canada, and Mexico. And so you need to make sure that you have an RV that can carry all the things that you might need for those type of trips and an RV that will take you there comfortably.
Yes.
Okay, so once you've figured out the type of RV that matches the RV lifestyle that you are interested in, the next step is figuring out your budget. Can you afford the RV? Now, John and I have done a complete video on how to determine your budget for purchasing an RV so that you don't become
RV broke.
You don't want to be RV broke.
No.
And we'll put a link to that down in the description below. It's a free spreadsheet to use. And as a matter of fact, we used that spreadsheet when helping my brother determine how much of an RV he could afford. Now we have the type of camping, we have your budget. You need to think about who will be traveling with you. Right. Is it going to be just you and your partner or your spouse? Is it going to be you and your kids?
Or your 5 dogs?
Or your 5 dogs, right? That's true. Or is it going to be you and some extended family? Now, when you're thinking about this, I want you to be very careful. I don't want you to think of who might want to camp with you when you're trying to decide that. John and I made that mistake. Yeah. We thought about, okay, we might want my parents to come camp with us. And we might want my son to come camp with us.
Yes, our son.
But, usually my son comes, but my parents haven't been in the RV yet. So
no, they haven't.
Focus on, who is really going to be in that RV with you and not who might want to come along on that trip with you.
Yes, because you'll end up getting a little too much RV.
Right. And so the reason why it's so important to figure out the number of people that are going to be in your RV is because there is something called cargo carrying capacity. So that is the gross vehicle weight rating, which is the maximum amount of weight that an RV can handle, minus the dry weight, which is the weight that the RV weighs when it comes off of the line at the manufacturer.
Right.
That gives you the cargo carrying capacity. Now, the cargo carrying capacity is found in different places in different RVs. So if you have a Class A RV, you'll most likely find the cargo carrying capacity behind the driver's seat. But it can also be found right inside the entrance door.
Yes.
If you're in a Class C RV, you'll find the cargo carrying capacity in the passenger side door. And if you have a towable, you'll usually find that cargo carrying capacity in the door as well.
Yeah.
Why is this important? Because if you have a family of 5 and your cargo carrying capacity is only, let's say, 800 pounds,
Okay, yes.
and you're a big family,
Right.
you may not be able to fit all of those people along with their luggage,
Right.
along with the food and the supplies and the toys and everything else that you may want to carry in your RV. And you never ever want to be overweight in your RV.
And some large RVs will fool you.
They will, because a very large RV can have a very low cargo carrying
Yes.
capacity. And one of the things you have to think about when you're buying an RV is some of the RVs have big residential refrigerators.
Yep.
They have washer and dryers.
Right.
This is all going to take away from your cargo carrying capacity.
It is.
And that is why this part is so important, because if you take the RV out and you're over your cargo carrying capacity, you can void your warranty.
Especially if something breaks.
You can damage your frame.
Right. Tires, brakes, suspension. Yes.
Everything. And that's dangerous. You can put yourself in a very dangerous situation, and we don't want you to do that.
No.
Now, one of the other things that we, at this point, are going to highly recommend is that you consider buying a used RV.
Yeah.
John and I have done a lot of tours of RVs recently, and we've been a bit disappointed in the quality of those RVs.
A little bit.
Yes, and if you want to learn more about that, you can check out this video up here. But we just want to encourage you for a number of different reasons, especially if it's your first time buying an RV.
Yeah.
And that is, a lot of people jump into this lifestyle and realize that it's not for them, or it's not what they thought, that it's been glorified on YouTube,
Yes,
and
it
they
has.
start doing it, and it's just not what they expected. The other reason is that you have a lot to learn. There's a learning curve that comes with RVing.
Oh, yes.
And getting a used one is cheaper.
Yep.
And it will help you to figure out what it is you really want, because you may have thought that you want to camp one way, but then after being out on the road for a while, you might decide, you know what, I want to try something else. And this way you don't have a huge depreciating asset that you bought brand new.
Right.
You've saved yourself some money, you've bought it used, and now you can go out and get the RV that fits you best.
That's true, yes.
So you've got your budget all together, you know how you want to camp, you know how much cargo carrying capacity your RV needs.
Yep.
So now the next thing that you need to do is figure out the type of floor plan that you would like. There are many different types of floor plans with RVs, but there are many different types of RVs. Some people love having a Class A RV, because a Class A RV, you hop in, you can drive it anywhere.
Right.
Other folks prefer the roominess and the hominess. Is that a word, John? The
Yes,
hominess?
the hominess.
Hominess. The hominess of a fifth wheel or a travel trailer.
They are more like houses.
And some people just might want, something really small that they can sleep in, because they're just moving up from tent camping.
Yes, like a pop-up trailer or maybe a teardrop.
Exactly. So take a look at the various different floor plans. And while you're taking a look at the floor plans, one of the things that we always recommend is that you take a video of each RV that you go into.
Yes.
And when you walk into the RV, say the name, capture the name,
Yep.
and capture the price of the RV that you're seeing, because what we've seen happen way too many times, and it happened to us when we were first buying, is you see a lot of different RVs and then you can't remember which one you really like. Like, I really liked a feature in one of these, but which one was that again?
Right. It gets confusing after the fifth or sixth one. You don't even remember what was in what.
You don't, but if you have a video, you don't have to remember, because you can go
Right.
back and you can look at your video and you can see the floor plans of the different RVs. And as you're looking at it, say to yourself, you know what? I really like this. Oh, this is a must-have for me. Oh no, I really don't want that in my RV.
But you got to watch out, because we've seen people like every single RV they've got into.
Well, we're not talking about my brother and sister.
Okay.
But but that happens, right? You go in, as you go from each one, you're like, oh wow, this is really nice. This is
Yes.
really nice. Sometimes you forget about what it is you really wanted. Which brings me to my next point. Before you go out and look at those floor plans, John,
Yes.
you really need to write a list of your must-haves,
Yes.
of your nice-to-haves, and it really doesn't matter.
Right.
And this will make you much more prepared when you see all those different RVs.
Yes, because many look similar, but they're missing something that another one has, or they have this cool feature that something else doesn't have, but you like them both. So you have to decide, what do you want to give up?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And buying an RV, it's just like with a car. There's going to be compromises. You're not going to. You're very lucky if you find that one RV that has everything that you want.
Right.
Now, we're not quite ready to go to the dealership yet, because now you need to do some research.
Yes.
And John, why don't you tell us about researching and what you can do?
What you should do is, especially if you pick out a particular RV you like, find a forum. There's usually a forum out there online for that particular RV, and you can talk to owners on the forum, ask questions, see what the complaints are. Usually you'll see a whole list of things that are going on with people's RVs.
And normally those forums, you have to own the RV to be able to join them. At least that's
Sometimes.
what it says in the description.
Right.
But if, when you're filling out the questions to get membership to the groups, if you say, hey, I'm looking to buy this make and model, most admins will go ahead and let you in.
Yes.
Then also, make sure that you watch lots of videos about your RV. If you already have an RV, when you go to the campground, if you see somebody that has an RV, we all know that campers are the friendliest people.
They
Reach
are.
out to them and ask them, hey, how do you like your RV? And that's another thing that you can do in the service center as well.
Right.
We're not quite ready yet to go to the dealership. There's
Not
still
yet.
a few other things that you have to do before you make that step. The next thing that you have to do is to know your credit score. There are lots of ways that you can get a copy of your credit score. Once a year, all the major bureaus will give you a copy. There are also apps, like Experian has an app, and
Right.
some of the other credit bureaus have an app. You can download that app and you can see what your credit rating is. If you do not have a really good credit rating, I highly recommend that before you buy an RV, that you work on improving your credit. Make sure that there are no discrepancies on there, and if you do have discrepancies, go ahead and reach out to the credit bureau. So that brings us to another very important point, John,
What's that?
and that is deciding where you want to buy your RV from.
Oh.
I don't think that people realize how important the dealership is that you want to buy your RV from.
Very.
And how do you tell if the dealership is a good dealership?
Well, you would look at reviews.
Go on Google. Go on, does anybody use Yelp anymore? Go on Yelp and just look up the reviews of the dealership that you're thinking about buying from. You might be surprised. And then the other thing that we always recommend is that before you decide on a dealership, that you go to the service departments of the various dealerships that you're considering and just sit there and talk to people. Talk to people about the dealership. Talk to the people about the RV they own. Talk to them about the problems they've had. Talk to them about how good their RV is. You might come across someone who has a really good make and model and said no problems and has been very, very happy with their experience. But this is the time before you start and sit down and do your negotiations.
Right.
You want to first determine, where am I going to buy this RV from? Where can I have the best RV buying experience? And Not only that, because RVs are very different from cars.
Right.
You buy a car, you can take your car to any dealership to get it fixed. It doesn't necessarily work that way with RVs. They don't have the same types of franchising agreements.
Right.
So you want to make sure that you choose a dealership where the service department is also good.
Right.
Where people have had, good experiences with getting their RVs fixed within a reasonable amount of time. So now you have found that perfect RV.
The next thing you should do is spend some time in that RV that you've selected. Just sit on the couch, try out the dinette, see how it feels.
Pretend like you're cooking.
Right.
Go and sit on the toilet. See if that's comfortable. I'm serious.
That is
right?
a big deal, yes.
Lie on the bed. Bring a blanket or a sheet, put over the bed. I'm a germaphobe, so I have to do that. And just lie on the bed for 15 minutes. Is it really comfortable? What is the angle of the television from the chair? Sit there as if you're going to watch TV and see how it feels.
Right.
Check out the counter space. Go through the steps you normally do when you prepare food and see if you have enough space. And if you're buying a motorized, make sure you sit in the captain's chair and the passenger chair as well.
Right.
You don't want to start driving an RV and then realize, oh my gosh, these seats are not comfortable.
No.
And then after you've spent time, and I'm talking about at least an hour,
Right.
if not more, using everything in the RV, you take it for a test drive.
Oh, yes.
Because how the RV drives could be a deal breaker for you.
Oh, yeah, especially if you're like Sherry and you're a little short.
Now,
just a little.
Now, if you have a towable, you're probably not going to be able to take it for a drive,
No,
right? So you would skip that step. But you want to make sure if you have a towable that your truck, and this actually should be done earlier in the process,
Right.
because we're motorized, because we have a motorized RV, we don't think about this as often, but if you're going to buy a towable, before you even start the process, back when we were talking about that cargo carrying capacity, if you already have a truck, you want to find out how much that truck can actually pull. And if you don't have a truck, once you find out the RV that you want to purchase, make sure that that truck is still within your budget and that whatever truck you purchase can pull the RV that you're looking at. Now, if you have a motorized and you decide to take it for a test drive from the dealership, route a route that is going to be similar to the ways you will use your RV. And what I mean by that is, if you expect to drive cross country, make sure you find some hilly areas around the dealership to drive your RV through. Or if you're looking at just doing, country roads that have lots of twists and turns, map out that kind of a road. And if you're looking to do just more highway driving, you want to test it in all of these situations, and you want to take at least 45 minutes to an hour for your test drive to get a good feel of how the vehicle operates and to know whether or not it will work for you.
Wow. Salesman's probably not going to enjoy that.
So what?
I know.
You're spending lots of your money on these RVs.
You are.
You want to make sure that you're getting what you expect. The next thing that you want to do is you really want to check the quality of the RV. Now, just like us, you're probably not an RV inspector, but there are certain things that you can still do. You can look at the fit and the finish of the RV, because if it looks good with the fit and finish, there's a good chance the rest of it's in good shape.
Yeah, there is a good chance.
If it looks bad with the fit and finish,
run away.
Exactly.
Run away.
Run away. Run away. So, things you're going to do looking at the fit and finish, you're going to look at, what are the cabinets made of? Are they MDF? Are they real wood? You're going to want to look at the trim. Is it nailed in, or is it just staples? Does it feel weak when you touch it, like it's going to fall off? Take a look at the appliances.
Yes.
You want to take a look at the plumbing. What kind of plumbing are they using in the RV? Are they using the right kind of plumbing?
That would help.
Bang on some stuff, Make sure those walls are flush and not bulging.
And you want to check a lot of your fixtures, your cabinetry, your handles on the cabinetry. We've had handles and cabinet doors have come loose on us because they just weren't put together well.
Right. And you want to make sure, you want to move stuff and shake stuff. You want to see how sturdy it really is. And then you want to look for, lots of loose nails.
Yes, loose screws and nails.
I should say screws,
are
right?
always hidden around the RV, it seems.
Yeah, you want to make sure your dashboard is like secured where it's supposed to be. Shake that thing because it's gonna. If it can't take you rattling it, it's not gonna take the roads.
Oh no.
Nope.
No, it won't.
I should mention that this goes for whether or not you find your RV at a dealership or you order your RV. When it comes in, you're going to do all of this stuff.
Yeah.
The next thing you want to do is have a certified inspector come look at your RV.
Yes.
Now, if you're buying a used RV and it's from a private party, you still want to make sure you have that RV. And if you're buying it from them and they say, I'm sorry, but we can't go through this deal, or I can't hold this for you because I can't wait for an inspection, that's your first sign to just walk away. Anybody who's selling to you in good faith, whether it's a dealership or private party, is going to let you have an inspection.
Yeah.
Let's say your inspection has gone well.
Yes.
Everything is good. Your inspector gives you a few things that need to be fixed. Do not sign any paperwork at all until everything on the list from the inspector is fixed. I don't care if the dealership says, we'll go ahead and take delivery, come back next week, we'll make an appointment to fix it. No, you do not take delivery of the RV until every item is fixed. You do not sign any paperwork until everything is fixed. And speaking of paperwork, whatever you do, that you always put down a refundable deposit.
Oh, yes.
No matter what, always a refundable deposit, and we know it can be done because we've done it twice.
We have.
So, and if the dealership has any issues with you putting down a refundable deposit, you can always say to them, hey, look, I really want this RV. Why don't we put some verbiage in here that says, I will accept delivery, except in the case that my inspection or the certified inspection finds things that we do not see satisfactory for delivery.
Yep. There you go.
And if they're not willing to do that, I would walk away.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep. So then, once you get all of your, once all of that's taken care of, and you get your paperwork, you're ready to sign your paperwork. Make sure before you go back to the dealership to sign your paperwork that they send you a copy of everything they want you to sign. Look, when you go to pick up your RV, it's going to be a very long day at the dealership. You will be there for hours because they will walk you through your entire RV. They'll show you how to use things in your RV, and you're going to be exhausted.
You are.
So by the time you're ready to sign the paperwork, the dealership actually has the advantage.
They do. They warn you down.
Before you even get there, have them send you the paperwork. Read the paperwork. Make sure if there's anything that you disagree with, exit out of the contract. You don't have to sign a contract. You don't have to sign everything in there. We've done that on contracts. We just exit out and say, look, I'm not agreeing to that, and if you don't want to sell it to me, that's fine.
Right.
Right? So, just do that. Also, they will try to push a lot of add-ons when you go to sign your paperwork. So ask them also in advance to send you any type of add-ons that they're planning to sell you before you come to the dealership so that you can read about it and decide if you want it. And a lot of times what they'll do is they'll say things like, well, why wouldn't you want an extended warranty? This is the first time I've heard of this. Usually people sign it because they want to make sure they take care of their investment.
Well, your roadside assistance needs roadside assistance to go with it.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
So you want to make sure that you know everything. Just have them send you everything that's going to happen. And I'm not saying that warranties are bad. We got one, and it actually saved us money. I'm glad we did have one.
The extended warranty worked for us.
But it's not for everybody.
No.
Yeah. Okay, folks. John, let's talk a little bit about negotiations.
All right.
Right now it is 2024, and we have an advantage.
Yes.
So whatever price you see listed at a dealership, you probably can take another 10 to 15% off. At the most recent RV show that we attended, we saw people getting 50% off of the MSRP. So keep that in mind. Now, there are a few brands that you may not see an actual sales price, or the sales price is the same across the board, and that's Brinkley, Newmar. They tend to say you cannot go below this price when you put out your advertised sales price.
Yes.
So you'll have to do a little bit of homework for that. Maybe those forums we talked about a little bit earlier, someone might be able to help you there. But as a general rule, I mean, whatever that, right now I'm seeing RVs being offered about 35-40% off of MSRP. You could very easily take another 10 to 15% off of that and walk out the door.
Yeah.
Here is our bonus tip for you, okay? And some people may disagree with this, but I think that the best way to buy an RV is to go to an RV show. And
Yes.
not just any RV show. You want to go to an RV show that is sponsored by the manufacturers. So we're talking about the Hershey RV show or the Florida RV Super Show, because those shows are sponsored by the manufacturers, and very often the manufacturers are willing to help you make a deal on an RV.
Yes.
While you're there. And then generally what happens, if you buy at the show, you have it delivered at a location that's closer to you.
Yes.
So check out that dealership first when you're at the show too, and make sure that that's a dealership that you're willing to buy from. But here's the other thing. If you can't get to the price that you want at that RV show, there are dozens of other dealerships who probably sell that same rig or trailer that you're looking for.
Right.
And you can go to them with that price and say, hey, I got this price from this particular dealership. Can you beat it? And a lot of times they might, because they want to make sales.
They do. They want to
And
move them.
you can also, once you get a price, make some phone calls that night.
That's
before
true. You
go
don't
back
have to
the show.
buy it there. You
don't
can
have to
just
buy the
shop
show.
around.
Or if you have a dealership that you like that has good ratings, you can call them and say, hey, I'm at the RV show and here's the price they're willing to give me. Can you beat it?
Right.
Or match it if you feel happy with that price.
Yeah, that'll work.
Okay, folks, that's it for our tips. If you found any of these tips helpful, please go ahead and hit that like button or subscribe to our channel. We put out lots of content about purchasing RVs. We do RV tours, we do campground reviews, and we just do general information and news about RVs, as well as capturing our adventures.
Yes,
All
all
right.
of our adventures.
Well, best of luck to you buying your RV, and
Enjoy your journey.
yep.